Hello there, it's Carrie Rhodes here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel and my craft studio here in Eagle, Idaho. Today is episode 4 of my August Stamp Set of the Month series. So every week I have been bringing you new ideas with the Way to Goat stamp set from Honeybee. So this week's cards are massive. They're A9 sized cards, which is 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper folded in half. It's a lot of space, which I wanted because I wanted to use the Barn Scene Builder die set to create a barn on a card. And that is a big barn. I also wanted a little space, so therefore we have the giant card. I'm gonna make one card that is Halloween on the farm and the other that is fall on the farm. Also, there is a giveaway in this video. If you comment below, you will be entered to win one of the cards that I am making in today's video. I did this same exact giveaway last week, and so I'm going to announce the winner of last week's card. It is Morwena Jackson. Thank you so much, everybody, for commenting and for watching. It means so much to me to connect with you and be able to share what I love with you. So, Morena, make sure that you are checking your YouTube because I'm going to comment back on last week's comment to let you know that you won, and we'll connect that way. All the cards that are given away in this series will be sent out at the end of the month, so be watching for that. And don't forget to comment here, and you could win one of the cards we're about to make right now. This is the Barn Scene Builder die set. I have put a piece of magnet sheet on the packaging that it comes from, and then I just keep the largest 2 dies in the envelope, and I have all the pieces that I've cut out for this card on my glass mat here. I'm going to use these dies here, also from the set, to die cut some interactive doors and a window. So for the door, I'm going to place this on my die cutting machine with the plates situated so that the top plate only covers 3 sides of the die. The side that it does not cover will not cut, and therefore that will give me the spot where the door will hinge and open. I'm going to do the same thing for this square window, having the hinge be at the top. Now, whenever you run this through, make sure the side that has the uncovered portion of the die is facing you, so it goes into the die machine last, if that makes sense. I'm going to take this circle die and cut a little window. This will just stay open. It's not going to have a flap. And that is my barn. I'm going to use my ruler here to put this up against where I want the window and the door to hinge and fold back. And then I'm going to start putting my barn together. So I have these fun accent pieces that I die cut from buttercream cardstock. So they're not quite white and they really help enhance that fall look that I'm going for card number 1. I'm attaching some hay on the inside of the windows so that I can put some cute things inside of them. I have some brushed gold cardstock for my accents today, and I'm officially in love with this paper. It reminds me of the like brushed brass hardware that people are putting in new homes lately, and I think it just looks so fun on this card. All right, so we'll set those things aside and start stamping and coloring the images we're going to need for today's card. I'm also bringing in the Warm Wishes stamp set, one of my all-time favorite sets from Honeybee, and I'm going to be using some of the little images that you can stamp on the fox's sweater to make him have an ugly sweater. And so I will be using the apple and the pumpkin and the leaf image. I thought about 5 of each would work good for my card. Now for this goat, this past weekend I was out camping, and as we were driving, as anytime you go driving in Idaho, you pass livestock farms and such things, and we did see a lot of goats, and they had this orangish red head and neck, and then the rest of their body was white. So I wanted to try and achieve that look with this goat on my card. I thought it was a good fit for a fall card, so that's where I got the inspiration for this. I did play with that the bottom line of where that orange blends into his body. Later off camera, I tried to give that a little bit of a softer edge. So if you notice that in the final pictures, that's what I did. All right, so now I am creating a brown bunny. I had yet to color this bunny brown, and I thought it looked super cute and was a good fall color for a bunny. So that's that, and I have all the markers that I'm using on the screen so that you can see the exact numbers and the colors that I am using. I love the chicks. I think I've put them on pretty much every card, but not card number 2. So they're just like a filler, really cute little filler piece for all the cards. Yeah. Okay, so now I did not use it on last week's pig card either. Yeah, so I guess I love them, but you can live without the chicks. All right, so now here is my blue duck. I cannot color this duck any other color. I can't. It's supposed to be this kind of teal blue. Yeah. All right, finishing up with the can. I love the can. It's so, like, I don't know, reminiscent of kind of goats being naughty, which they kind of are. They're rambunctious little creatures. So I love the can for all of my cards, all my goat cards. I love it. All right, so now I am coloring in my apples and my pumpkins and my leaves. I did all the apples the same color, all the pumpkins the same, but the leaves I have a little bit of variety. So I have 1 red, 2 orange, and 2 that golden yellow color. So I'll finish those up with a little dark highlight shadow. Yeah, with R39. I'm going to die cut all of these things and set them aside and create my background. So I'm using the new speckled egg. This is like the perfect color for farm skies. I love it. It has like a grayish teal undertone to this light blue. So I don't really need to do the bottom portion of this panel, which, by the way, measures 5.5 by 8.5, because we're making A9 size cards, which is an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper folded in half. So it's massive. It's, you know, one of the biggest cards you can make. But I really wanted to have the barn on my card and have room for a scene. You can make like a 6 by 6 card easily and put this barn in there, but then there wasn't a lot of room for all the things I wanted to add, so I went giant. I used a wavy border from a Lawn Fawn slimline die set to create my kind of wheatgrass field that will be behind the barn. And then I'm going to put all my things together. So I put a chick in that round window, and then I'm going to pile up my apples to be in the top window of this barn, and they look so cute up there. I love the little pop of red. So I'll glue those in, and then I have a second barn that I cut from that buttercream cardstock that will back my first barn so that you can't see like the sky and the grassy hill behind it. And I am hooking that together with 2 layers of double stick tape just to give it the slightest bit of lift, because I have that window with the chick in it. I just felt like I needed a little bit of lift, but not like full-on foam tape. All right, then I'm going to put my die cut bales of hay on the inside of the main door, just a little askew there, and then that's where my duck's going to be. And then I can glue on my grassy hill. I love that the slimline dies also work for my A9 size cards. Fabulous. All right, the barn is getting glued on, and then I'm going to put a little bit of shadowing onto the fence. I'm using a W2 marker for that, and once I have all of those done, I'll go ahead and glue them down, and then I'll glue my windmill down, which is also with that brushed gold cardstock. It's yummy. And then I can add in my little stamped images, my bunny and my chick, and just adding these pieces is what really brings the scenes to life. But you know what I wish that this stamp set had? I wish the stamp set had a weather vane I could put on top of my barn and some eggs. Wouldn't that be cute? I would love those 2 images. Or a die cut weather vane even. All right, so I'm adding the pumpkins to the fence, which kind of reminds me of a poem I used to do with my kids. 5 little pumpkins sitting on a fence. Sitting on a gate. I think it's a gate, actually. The first one said, "Oh my, it's getting late." Yeah, I love that poem. So cute. All right, so I glued these leaves underneath the can, but later I didn't like them. I twisted them off and stuck them in front of the fence, and I like that much better. I did have to use a little adhesive eraser to get some of that glue off, but you can never tell they were there, so I was super happy about that. And now I'm using this stamp from the Grateful stamp set. This stamp set not only has the word grateful, but it has the word thankful, and it has sentiments to go with, and an amazing die set. There's actually 2 die sets, but I'm using obviously the one for Grateful. Now Grateful, I inked up with 2 different colors of ink, Teal Cave and Galactic Stream, and then I die cut that with the matching die, and I also die cut the same die from some white fun foam. I'm going to put the words "for you" right underneath the words or the word grateful to finish off my sentiment, and stamp that with Galactic Stream, so the darker of the 2 teal colors that I used. And you can see how the teal goes really well with that speckled egg Distress Oxide. Loving it. So we'll glue those together, and I did trim a little bit away from the G and the L so it could overlap the images on my card. And then I thought, okay, let's go ahead and glue this down. So I flipped it over and I used some glue and put that on, and I was like, this texture doesn't feel like foam. That's because it had adhesive on the back. So I just removed that, tossed it away carefully, and added the sentiment to my card. I think it is a gorgeous set. They have, Honeybee has so many sets like this with so many different words. Just, I want to say hundreds. That might be exaggerating, but pretty much anything you could think of. Love, hugs, hello, aloha, like so many sets that are like this. And they have the die that cuts out the word, a die that cuts out the word without having been stamped, and a die to mat it on that has piercing. It's awesome. I will link all that for you guys below, as with all the other things I used to make today's card. So if you're interested, you can click and check them all out. For the inside of my card, I am adding the sentiment, "You are the goat." Now, I have a confession to make. When I got this stamp set, I was like, what is the goat? You are the goat? Is that a pun? What does that stand for? What does that mean? I could not figure it out until I had a discussion with my best friend about this sentiment, and I read the whole thing out loud to her, where it says, "You are the goat, greatest of all time." So if you're an airhead like me, GOAT stands for greatest of all time. Yeah, I'm a little slow sometimes when it comes to these things. So I now think it's awesome, and I thought it was a great addition to the inside of this card, as well as my little sleeping goat and a few of my foliage and pumpkin on the inside. So now I'm just adding even more shadows to my card. I'm using the E13 marker for the shadow underneath the goat and the windmill, and that will soften out when it dries back just a little bit. All right, so then I took some more of that brushed gold paper, and I cut at like 1/8 of an inch strip and then cut off little pieces to make some hinges for the top of my window and the side of my door, and I feel like it just added a little something that the barn really needed. As you can see, I already put in my white highlights with my gel pen, and that card is all done. I love how it turned out. So cute. And now we're going to move on and create a Halloween scene on the farm. So I already have my barn cut. I already have my windows partially die cut, as well as my door. And I'm putting this on my score tool so I can score every 1/2 inch to create slats on my barn. So once I complete that, this is how it looks. It does have a little line through it. That's from when I die cut it. There must have been a scrap on my die cut machine, but it's a Halloween barn, so it'll be fine. I'm using some white ink to just dust the edge of my barn so it has a little bit of glow from the moon that we're going to create on the background coming up in just a minute. I'm adding some brushed silver cardstock for this roof and some black accents to my windows and door. I think it looks so cool for a Halloween card. So then I added the silver hinges as I did before on the other card with the gold cardstock. And I think it just is a perfect little accent. And on a Halloween card, it's kind of fun to put the hinges, you know, like crooked, kind of like I did with the windows, just for something fun. So that's a nice added Halloween touch. All right, here is my silver windmill with a black center. And for this windmill, I knew on this card I wanted to have things that were kind of shabby, kind of broken. So I snipped part of the windmill, I bent it how I wanted it to go, and I made a second snip. So when I glue that to my card, it will look a little bit bent. Now, the backer for this barn is Tin Pail, a very light gray cardstock, and I'm just gluing this one down. I didn't feel the need to have a little tiny lift, and adding some more white ink to my fence pieces, which are also black. I'm going to hand draw, that's what I said, some spider webs, and it was scary. It was scary for me, but because I'm drawing right on my finished barn. And so there are a few mistakes on there, but you know, I've told you before, I'm working on letting go of perfection, so it's going to be fine. I also put one inside the main door of the barn. Now, this is my background before. I'm using a circle of masking paper to be my giant moon, and then my sky is going to be Twisted Citron. If you are a longtime follower of me, you know that I like to make a green Halloween sky, and Twisted Citron, it's already one of my favorite colors. It's just awesome, bright, it has a pop to it, love it. All right, so then I'm going to spritz that with some water and get some variation to my sky, and it's fabulous already, but we might as well add some splatter to it. This is Sparkle Silk, so it's a clear liquid with shimmer or sparkle in it. So I'm going to put that all over. I'm sometimes overly generous with my splattering because I know I'm going to add a ton of stuff to this card. So a lot of it will be covered. So I want to make sure there's plenty of splatter in those other areas. And also, this electric lime silk that I'm using right there, it dries back where it just has a little bit of green with the shimmer. So that's why it looks different here where I'm peeling off the moon. I also use that same slimline die as with card number 1 to create my dark grassy hill. I didn't want to go with black because my fence is black. I didn't want to go with gray because my barn is gray. So I picked a super dark green cardstock for my hill, and it was the perfect thing. So I glued that in place, and now I'm going to use the tiny Halloween stamp set from Lawn Fawn to make some cute little scenes inside the windows. So I'm taking my Twisted Citron sponge and just adding a hint of color inside there, and then I'm going to stamp this little ghost 3 times inside that window. And then again with the green dusting of ink, and this time I'm going to use the 3 different sets of eyes to stamp inside this window. This stamp set is made to go with the tiny house, is it the tiny house builder die set from Lawn Fawn, which was also one of my stamp set of the month. Even though it's a die set, I did a die set of the month series. I love that house. So this goes with that, and you can make a reveal wheel. It's fabulous. I will put a link at the end of this video or in the description box to that. I don't know if I can link to the series. I'll link to my Lawn Fawn playlist and you can find it there. How about that? Okay, so now I'm going to glue all my fences on, or my fence pieces, and then my windmill, and it's going to have pretty much the same layout as the first card. And you can see here I'm bending that windmill just for fun. And then I colored 3 goats for this card, but I'm just going to use this one here, and he's going to be walking along the fence. These pumpkins and crows are actually from another Lawn Fawn stamp set called Happy Harvest. And just, I love the black crows. I love them. So I wanted those for this card. And then having a more variation of pumpkins for this card besides just the one from that stamp set I used on the last card for these tiny pumpkins, I thought was fun for a Halloween card. All right, so the bunny, my little black bunny, will be on the inside of the card sitting on some leaves, and there's a spider web with a spider and a pumpkin inside too. So I have my 2 crows sitting on top of my barn. I love it. And for a touch of purple, I colored all the flowers purple and then added some dark green for my grass and my leaves and my stems on my flowers. There's that can, had to have it. Had to have it on there. It's so cute. And then also in the Tiny Halloween is a stamp with 2 bats on it. I love bats over the moon, stamped over the moon for a Halloween card. So I'll put those in a few more places. And then I also ended up stamping another spider coming down from the windmill. And so you'll see that at the very end. Sometimes I need to just walk away from a card and I just stand there and add more white highlights and add more shadowing. So sometimes you may see something a little added on in my final photos of my cards that maybe happens after the camera goes off. So I'm adding a little more shadowing on my images, my stamped images, as well as my barn pieces. And I thought it would be cool to go back and add some shadowing into the grooves of those slats on the barn just to help them be more pronounced. And again, these will dry back a little bit lighter, but it really helped add some interest there. All right, so here I am with my white gel pen going crazy, putting highlights on all the things because that's a giant moon. So we are going to have lots of highlights on these, and I think it just brings the card to life. So I've sped this up because I do honestly put highlights on all the things. And then I go back and put it on a few more things. So there you have it. I love these 2 cards. The only sad thing is that I didn't get to a Christmas scene with this set. I really wanted to do that. But these cards, they're so huge. It was a ton of stuff to get together. So I'm just going to put it out there. You could really do the same card as a Christmas scene and have snow on everything. It would be adorable. And I'm sure you've got plenty of Christmas stamps at home if you're like me that you could use to build this scene and add to it. So there is card number 2. You saw me add those cute things on the inside, and I had a ton of fun making these cards. I think having themed cards is so much fun to do with your sets like this, or with dies like this barn. So yeah, I loved it. I love this series. Make sure that you leave a comment below. Just let me know which one's your favorite, and you'll be entered to win a drawing for one of these cards. All right, that is everything for me today. That's episode 4. So the next time you see me for Stamp Set of the Month series, it will be a brand new stamp set to focus on, which is always so much fun. And I can't wait to reveal it to you. So watch out for my recap video where I'm going to share with you every single card I made this month, and I will also reveal that stamp set. So that will be out on this coming Monday. I hope you've enjoyed today's video, and I will see you all again very, very soon with more cute ideas. Happy stamping. Bye.